We are live. Welcome back to Earle Sports Bets. This is day 2 of the MLB 2023 season preview. Yesterday with the Yankees. Today we're continuing with the American League East. We're going north of the border here for Toronto. The Blue Jays will be looking at their 2023, their projected lineups, their additions, their subtractions, their prospect pool, and their futures for win totals to make the playoffs, AL East, pennant, World Series, things along those lines. And of course, brought on Blue Jays fan Terry Edelman for this one. We're trying to get some fans for each team, and I know you want to be on a few of these, Terry. So you get to start off with your Blue Jays one. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Can't really complain. Got the Jays jerseys up and ready.
There we go.
For today only. The Wild jerseys will be back up tomorrow for tomorrow's show, and we'll go until the Wild get eliminated from the playoffs, which will hopefully not be for a long, long time. And then the Jays jerseys will come out the next day. So
there you go. There you go. Well, it's very similar to we got this idea obviously from your.
Yeah, I was going to say whoever came up with this idea is a really
great format. So Tim and I stole it. So yes. So we'll be going over the additions and the re-signs. Basically, these are players that they added or players that were free agents that re-signed. I'm not counting the people who signed contracts to avoid arbitration. It's just the players who were free agents that opted to return. And then we'll be looking at the subtractions as well. For the Blue Jays here, they got Chad Green. They got Zach Thompson from the Pirates. They got Brendan Belt. Dalton Varsho is one of their big trades this offseason. Chris Bassett and Kevin Kiermaier. For their subtractions here, Teoscar Hernandez, Anthony Kay, Lourdes Gurriel, Ramel Tapia, David Phelps, and Dexter Fowler both retired, and Gabriel Moreno was part of that Dalton Varsho trade along with Gurriel. Looking at this, I'll go first for this one, then I'll pass it on to Terry here. They lost some pretty key pieces, I think, from that lineup. I think missing Gurriel and Hernandez is going to hurt them a little bit here. But adding Varsho is definitely a nice addition to the lineup. And I think Brendan Belt is going to be a decent hitter for the platoon at first base there. And Kiermaier, I think, is going to be a great hitter off the bench. Definitely going to help there. Tapia was more of a bench player. He's probably Kiermaier's his replacement, if you had to look at it that way. Anthony Kay, who they got from the Marlins, I believe, in the trade deadline last season. They kind of replaced him with Thompson there, kind of. Chad Green, I really like this move for the bullpen because I remember one thing that we had a big question mark with the Blue Jays last year was their bullpen. And Chad Green had, before he got hurt, had some really nice success with the Yankees last year. But probably the one that I'm circling on this list, and I got to see him pitch many games last year. I really like this addition of Chris Bassett. He is going to be somebody who's going to eat up a lot of innings for the Toronto Blue Jays. He'll give you 7 innings every 5 days. He's somebody who you can rely on to give you at least 6 an outing. He will be there every single time. He was there basically every single start last year. He's consistent. He will stay in your rotation. He'll give you a lot of innings. I really like the addition of Chris Bassett here. Overall, I think they're about the additions and the subtractions about offset, kind of. I don't think this team got drastically better from their offseason acquisitions, but I don't think they got worse either. So I think this team is about where they were last year. I think Teoscar Hernandez is going to hurt, but I do like some of their additions here. What's your thoughts on what they got, additions and subtractions?
Yeah, so the Jays made Ross Atkins made a very important decision in this offseason, and that is that this team needed a change, first of all. Teoscar Hernandez wanted way too much money and wasn't going to be re-signed. So what the Jays did is, yes, they got rid of Gurriel and Hernandez, 2 players that you want on your team. They're 2 very good hitters, and you do want them on your team. But their issue is defense. They're not the best defensive players, either of them. Varsho is far, far, far better defensively. Kiermaier as well. I think it's the Jays have decided to go and subtract some of their hitting to improve their defense. So an improved defense and improved pitching, that's what's going to win games. The Jays can hit. They'll be able to hit. They still have a very nice lineup. So I don't think they got drastically better, but I think we're going to see the Jays score a little bit less runs, but they're going to allow quite a bit. They're going to allow more runs. How can I say this? They're going to give up less runs than they're going to the runs they're going to be missing. So overall, I think it's the right decision, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think this could probably lead to seeing a little bit more Blue Jays unders in games because they are losing a few good bats in the middle of that lineup. Crystal's saying that's a nicer color, Terry, than green. I would have to agree with that. I like blue better than green. World Series. Okay. I like Bassett and Thompson additions. Losing Teo will hurt. Yeah, we both agree on that one there. Teo on base percentage and strikeouts won't though. All right.
You are losing two big players, but I really like the defensive. It's really important to improve the defense, which is what the Jays did.
Yeah. And we'll move on here to the there's not much to talk about here because I feel like a lot of their top prospects are already in the major leagues, the Toronto Blue Jays, or this is according to MLB.com for top 100 prospects. They only have one, which is a left-handed pitcher in Ricky Tideman, who is not even expected to be in the majors this year. Their farm system, according to I believe this is MLB Prospects 1500, has them ranked 21st out of major leagues. Really not much for me to go over here. There's just one prospect. Anything or just
losing Moreno, which I didn't touch on in the last segment, that really does hurt your farm system because he is going to be an amazing player. But the Jays, when it comes to prospects, aren't very strong, but they're going to have a good future because of the roster they have, the age of the players, and assuming that players stay, and obviously they'll add, they'll lose. But prospect, is not a very strong area for the Jays. But when you're a team trying to contend, really your prospects, that's what you give up is prospects. So,
yeah, exactly. Crystal saying, I like the additions of Bassett and Green. Everyone else we will see. Kiermaier is injury prone. Think he'll be good if he stays healthy. I agree on that one. We've seen Kiermaier struggle with injuries over his career. But we'll take a look here. I remember last show with the Yankees starting lineup and all that. I saw a lot of backlash saying that this is not anywhere near what the starting rotation. So this one is according to Fangraphs. I feel like this is a little bit more accurate than the website I was using. So this is according to Fangraphs, the projected lineups for the Blue Jays here: Springer, Bichette, Vladdy, Kirk, Varsho, Chapman, Belt, Merrifield, and Kiermaier. Their rotation looks actually not bad with Manoah, Gosman, Barrios, Bassett, and then the 5 spots can be a huge question mark. It's either going to be Mitch White or Yusei Kikuchi. Right now, it's trending towards Kikuchi. The bullpen, there is Mitch White there. He's one of the long relievers. Trevor Richards, Adam Simber, Tim Maiza, Anthony Bass, Yimi Garcia, Eric Swanson, and Jordan Romano. What's your thoughts on this, the starting lineup here? What's your thoughts on the rotation, the bullpen, all that?
I like it. I like it a lot. I do think Danny Jansen is going to play. Even when Kirk is in the lineup, I do think we're going to see Danny Jansen. Kiermaier may not be there that much. He might be kind of some days he'll play, some days he won't. I think Danny Jansen will probably get more starts. Whit Merrifield is huge. I'm expecting a big year from him. It's just kind of my gut feeling. I think we're going to have a very good year from Whit Merrifield, which is going to help. Obviously, losing the offense they have lost. But I like the starting lineup. When it comes to pitchers, again, Jose Barrios, I think we're going to see improvement this year. I don't know if it's going to be drastic improvement, but I think he's going to go more towards his career average in ERA, and I think he's going to bounce back here, assuming Gosman, Bassett have years like they did last year. The top four will be very good. I don't think we can expect more from Manoah than what we saw last year. I think if he replicates last year, I'm super happy. And Mr. Kikuchi down there, it's very, very early, but he has a beard now. He says he's feeling better than he has in 5 years. And he looked very good in his one spring training appearance. So I'm not ready to.
Massive sample size, yeah.
Yes, I'm not ready to go off and say he's going to win the Cy Young or anything like that. But if he improves at all from what he did last year, and Jose Barrios improves at all, and these five stay healthy, this is going to be a very good team. If those things happen. That is a lot to ask for, but this is going to be a very good team if those things do happen.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun lineup to watch. This is going to be one of those teams where, and we'll get into it with the next slide when we talk about futures, where we could potentially attack them here. But I think this is going to be a fun team to watch. I think that this lineup can produce runs, and this starting rotation. I mean, Barrios can't be too much worse than he was last year. That was not a very good year for Barrios. Also, he was very home road split driven. Like, him on the road was terrible, but him at home was really strong. So, and Barrios was one of those pitchers where you kind of knew about an inning in whether or not he was going to be a good start just by how much his breaking ball moved. Like, he was one of those pitchers where if he had it that night, you can tell early. If not, then you can tell early. But I like Manoah, Gosman, Bassett on the top of that rotation. Honestly, I think this is a really strong rotation to a point where, yeah, the five spot, and I see it mentioned in the chat that it's probably going to be Hyunjin Ryu when he comes back this year. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't think Kikuchi can't be much worse than he was last year. I don't think that's saying much, though, because he was one of the worst pitchers in baseball last year. But this is a team where their rotation's strong. Their starting lineup is strong. We'll have to see what their bullpen does, because I remember their bullpen, I think, was the biggest question mark from them last year. Romano, I think, is really strong at the end of that rotation, but at the end of that bullpen. But the challenge is going to be, I think, going from a Manoah and getting those couple innings to Romano, because I remember that's where they struggled a little bit last year. So I think that this bullpen has the potential to be decent. I think that's going to be their biggest question mark. I think they'll be able to hit. I think that this starting rotation is strong, like a lot of teams in the American League East. So it's going to be interesting to see what this lineup does. I think that it's got talent on top, obviously. No need to say Springer, Bichette, Guerrero is a great top three in your batting order. Alejandro Kirk, I know, is one of your favorite players. I think he's a great bat defensively. That's probably where Varsho comes in, and Kirk can DH, honestly. I think that's kind of where they would look to do with that. Brandon Belt maybe is a platoon type of guy, but I think this lineup's going to be able to hit. I like the rotation. The bullpen's going to be the biggest question mark, but that's kind of like a lot of teams. I think we can say is the bullpen's the biggest question mark. But overall, I think this Blue Jays team is going to be a lot of fun this year, and maybe we'll make some money with some of their team total overs or something along those lines.
Well, I don't know about the team total overs. I would think the team total unders possibly for
their opponents. Yeah, at least for first fives, especially with like Manoah, Gosman starting. Looking at first five opponent team total unders could be a decent look as well.
And as you said, with the relief pitching being a question mark for a lot of teams, if the relief pitching turns out good, like if these players,
it could be league average. This team
could be scary. That's if the pitching turns out really well.
Yeah. Crystal saying, I think we will see a team that's more serious. There was a lot of fun in the dugout with Lurius and Teo around. The newer players seem more serious / professional.
I agree for sure.
Tim saying Kikuchi for Cy Young.
I don't know. He's looked really good so far, but no.
Yeah. There's the comment. Kikuchi will only be the starter until Hyunjin Ryu gets back. So, guys, you think the AL East is going to be – I think so. I think it's a 3-team race on the top of the AL East. I know Terry agrees with me on one of the teams that were orange in this division is not going to be as good as people think they are. I think it's going to be a 3-team race with the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Rays in this for this division. Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice tight race. Bovada doesn't have any Kikuchi. What? Unbelievable. But we will get into some futures here with the Toronto Blue Jays. Team win total is 91.5. Their playoffs. We'll see with some of these teams that to make the playoffs or whatever is actually worth betting. I don't think it is here. Minus 270 for the yes, plus 210 for the no. To win the American League East is plus 220. To win the American League is 8-1. To win the World Series, it's 14-1. I don't think I want to get involved with any Blue Jays futures. I think this 91.5 number is about right. I think this is anywhere from a 90 to a 93 win baseball team, a team that'll probably get a wild card spot. Maybe they'll probably be that top wild card spot. I don't know if they win the division. I got a couple teams I like a little bit more than the Blue Jays for the division. That being said, the AL East plus 220. I have another team in mind. We'll be talking about them later in another stream. That I'm kind of interested at a little bit bigger of a price to win the AL East. And for the American League, the pennant and the World Series, I feel like I'm going to be a little bit repetitive here with some competitive teams in the American League in general. I don't see anyone getting past the Houston Astros until proven otherwise. I think the Astros are still the team to beat. So I don't know if I would take any spots here, any futures here with the Blue Jays. In my opinion, I think that these lines are about right. I don't see any edges on them here. So I'm probably not getting involved with any Blue Jays futures. Anything for you, Terry?
Yeah, I completely disagree with Tim. What Tim put in the chat there. His most recent comment. I think the Jays get over 91.5 wins. I'm not going to say it's going to be anything crazy. But looking at these futures, the one thing I would go with is the team wins over. I think they finished somewhere around 93, 94, 95. It's going to be a slight improvement from last year. Nothing crazy, but I see them over 92 wins. So that's where I would go here. World Series, hey, I'm a fan. Obviously, I'm probably going to have a sprinkle on the World Series. Do I think this team is ready? I need to see. This is going to be a new team. Where there's obviously it's going to be much different than last year. So I'm not ready to recommend anyone going deep into futures with the Jays until I kind of see how things go in the regular season. But I do like the wins over.
Fair enough. Any player futures you're looking at for this team? Any MVPs or Cy Youngs or Rookie of the Years, or anything along those lines before we head on out?
Yeah, the one you mentioned before the show, which is really the only thing you can look at is Manoah, Cy Young. But no, I'm not really going too big in the futures. I'm obviously excited to see how this team plays, but I think they'll, like I said, 92, 93, 94 wins, make the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens.
I think my internet just crashed here.
Oh, you're good on stream.
I'm good on stream. Okay, my Google Chrome is saying not responding, so I'm unable to click the button right now or do anything. So this is fun. Oh yeah, this is just perfect timing on this.
Should we look at what the live scores are right now in the game? Oh, you can't. I can.
Yeah, my internet crashed, so.
We'll see what's going on.
Exit out and come back in real quick. I'm gonna try that.
All right. We already have goals in the NHL games. Oh, you're froze. 1-1 Detroit, Ottawa. 1-0 Florida. You shall see. Tim says Bo Bichette most hits plus 1,200. That is interesting. That is definitely interesting.
There we go. For whatever reason, my thing crashed, and there we go. So I'm back. Bo Bichette, most hits at 12-1. That is interesting. I heard you saying that.
That is interesting.
That's an interesting look because he's definitely going to be on the. They have him projected for second in the lineup, so he's going to get the at bats. And then Tim saying hi. But the only thing I was looking at was probably Alek Manoah to win the Cy Young Award. I had him last year as well. I had him and McClanahan as two of my favorite picks for that. Probably go back to that this year again. I think the Cy Young's coming out of the AL East. Between either Manoah, McClanahan, or Rondon. So those are like the three I have circled.
No Verlander helps.
No Verlander,
he's out of the AL. It helps.
But that Houston rotation's super deep, and we'll get into them in about a week and a half. So, but that is everything for the show for the Blue Jays here. Anything you wanted to mention before we head on out?
No, not really.
We have one more chat before we head out. Vladdy over strikeouts if they have a prop. I don't know.
No, Alonso over strikeouts, Timothy.
I mean, he strikes out a lot. So the power hitters strike out a lot. Then that'd make a little bit of sense. So,
or let's make a bet on who will have more strikeouts, Vladdy or Alonso, Timothy.
I believe Alonso.
There we go.
All right. That's gonna.
I had to give that little shot in. I had to give
that little shot. All right. That's gonna do it for this one. I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, 7:00. Continuing the MLB preview shows with the Tampa Bay Rays. Yes, Alonso over strikeouts too.
Booing to the Tampa Bay Rays, not the strikeouts.
Yeah, I do like the Rays a little bit. We'll get into them tomorrow, though. 7:00, Tampa Bay Rays for day 3 of MLB. Earle Sports Bet Show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Until then, have a good night, guys.